Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are wrestling with a topic that is, well, it's changing the fabric of human development faster than we can even track it.
We're talking about artificial intelligence.
And its profound, really complex impact on young people.
Right. And when we say young people, we should be clear. We're taking the definition from the American Psychological Association's recent health advisory, which is youth, generally from age 10 to 25.
So a really wide and critical age range.
It's critical because AI isn't some future tech. It's already here. It's embedded everywhere.
Absolutely. And we're not just talking about the obvious stuff like the chatbots everyone's playing with.
No, not at all. It's the subtle things. Predictive text, your shopping recommendations, what shows up in your social media feed.
All the way up to really substantial uses like automated job application reviews or even school admissions decisions. It's just unavoidable.
Precisely. And so our mission today is to distill the guidance from this APA advisory. It's not just a warning, it's more like a roadmap.
A roadmap for what?
For how we can maximize the enormous potential benefits of AI while urgently minimizing the very real psychological and developmental risks for this generation. We have to learn from past mistakes.
Okay, so let's nail down what we mean by AI in this context. The advisory seems to focus on two main types. The first is generative AI.
Yeah, generative AI is the creative powerhouse. This is the stuff that can produce, well, human-like text that reads like an expert wrote it.
And photorealistic images that are almost impossible to distinguish from reality.
Exactly. Lifelike audio, realistic videos, the notorious deepfakes.
And the second type is interactive AI.
Right. These are the platforms that facilitate actual human AI interactions. So think of things like personalized learning tutors that adapt to you.
Or conversational agents, and this is the big one, simulated companions or friends.
Yes, that's the kind of tool that really starts to feel like a relationship. And both of these types, generative and interactive, they have the power to fundamentally shape how young people are developing.
Which brings up the urgency factor. I mean, we've been here before with digital tech. We saw the alarm bells go off way too late with social media.
We did, and we can't afford to make the same mistake. That's the core message of the advisory.
Because adolescence is such a critical period for the brain.
It's a superhighway of brain development. The APA stresses that there are greater changes happening than neuroplasticity, impulse control, emotional processing, than in any other period besides infancy.
So the brain is literally rewiring itself.
It is, and that means anything influencing the environment or social interactions has this outsized impact. Youth safety has to be considered now, not 10 years down the road.
So let's unpack this. How is the AI risk any different from, say, the challenges of too much screen time? Why is this a bigger deal?
There are two critical differences that just elevate the risk. The first one is what the advisory calls invisibility.
Invisibility. What do you mean by that?
Well, unlike choosing to log on to a social media site, adolescents are often completely unaware they're even interacting with AI.
So you don't know you're being influenced.
Precisely. If you don't realize that a decision like what news you see or if your homework gets flagged is being made by an algorithm, you can't critically assess that influence. It's a force you can't perceive.
And the second big difference.
Truth discerning. We were already struggling with misinformation online. AI has, it's weaponized it.
How so?
It just makes telling truth from fiction vastly more difficult. It can produce inaccurate information in new, highly convincing ways. We're not talking about bad photo edits anymore.
We're talking about perfect deepfakes, flawless written arguments.
Exactly. Complex, scientific-sounding explanations that are just factually wrong. And the science is terrifyingly clear. Repeated exposure to misinformation, especially if it seems plausible, makes it far more likely to be believed.
Okay, I have to challenge this a little, though. This is a deep dive, so we need nuance. The report is clear that AI isn't just good or bad.
Oh, absolutely. It's highly contextual. The outcome depends on the specific application, right? Is it a learning tutor or a companion bot?
And the design features, the training data.
Yes, the training data is huge, which leads directly to bias. And the individual adolescent matters too. Their temperament, any neurodiversity, their mental health, all of this can make them more vulnerable.
But if the effects are so individualized, how can we possibly design systems that are broadly safe? It sounds, I don't know, almost impossible.
Well, that's the heart of the issue. Bias is inherent because these systems are trained on human data. They're built by humans.
So if the data is biased, the output will be biased.
Always. Biases, including discrimination, show up in AI output because the training data isn't representative or there's a lack of diversity in the testing teams.
Give me a concrete example. What does that look like for a teen using an AI for, say, career exploration?
Okay, good example. If that AI tool was trained mainly on historical data from, let's say, certain socioeconomic groups, it might subtly discourage a user from an underrepresented background from pursuing certain fields.
Because the data shows fewer people like them succeeding there.
Exactly. It's a perpetuation of systemic inequity, but it's dressed up as a neutral recommendation. And that kind of signal, repeated over and over during those formative years, can be so damaging.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. The risks with interactive AI designed as companions or experts.
Yeah.
Mental health chatbots, for instance.
It's transformative and, you're right, simultaneously terrifying. Because these simulated relationships present two huge psychological risks. The first is heightened trust and susceptibility.
But wait, aren't teens supposed to be skeptical? They question authority. Why is a bot harder to question than a person?
That's a great point. The difference is a human mentor comes with baggage, judgment, expectations. An AI companion is designed to be perfectly non-judgmental
Unconditionally available.
and tailored precisely to their emotional state. So adolescents struggle to distinguish that simulated empathy from genuine human understanding. They don't see the persuasive intent or the bias underneath.
So they're more susceptible because the AI is giving them exactly what they need emotionally, which makes it a really effective manipulator.
Even if unintentionally, yes. And that leads directly to the second major risk: relationship displacement.
The fear that the bot replaces real human connection.
That's the one. Relationships with AI can interfere with developing healthy, real-world social skills. Adolescence is when you learn the hard stuff.
Conflict resolution, reading body language, dealing with rejection.
All of it. A simulated relationship doesn't teach any of that. It's optimized for comfort, not for growth. And early research suggests strong attachments to AI may lead to struggles with those exact social skills.
It's like outsourcing the messiness of real life, and the messiness is where you learn.
It is. If you always have a perfect, non-challenging friend available 204/7, why do the hard work of real friendship?
So what does the APA recommend developers do? How do they build in healthy boundaries?
They have to prioritize features that prevent exploitation. The most basic rule is transparency.
Just tell the user what they're talking to.
Constantly, regular, persistent notifications and reminders that you are interacting with a bot, not a human. The interface should never try to deceive you.
And what about when the stakes are really high, like with a mental health bot?
That is critical. If an adolescent indicates they're experiencing a serious challenge, suicidality, self-harm, abuse, the AI has to stop talking and start acting.
So it has to offer resources.
Instantly. It must link them to validated human resources, like the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. No exceptions.
Okay, let's shift focus to the AI design itself. If we know adolescents have heightened social sensitivity and less developed impulse control, the system has to reflect that.
It has to. This is the call for safety by design, not the fix-it-later approach we saw with social media.
So what are some of the key design recommendations?
They list a few non-negotiables. First, age-appropriate defaults. Privacy settings and content filters should be set to the most protective level by default.
So safety is the baseline. You don't have to go looking for it.
Exactly. Second, reduced persuasive design. All those features that maximize engagement, gamification, manipulative notifications, endless scrolling, they should be minimized or just eliminated for young users.
No more streaks for talking to your AI tutor.
Precisely. If it's designed to create addiction for commercial gain, it has to go. And third, transparency. The workings of the AI should be explained in a way that young users can actually understand.
And this careful design is even more critical when we talk about health information.
The potential harm is massive. The advisory is clear. AI systems providing health advice must ensure absolute accuracy and reliability.
Which is a huge technical challenge. What if they can't?
Then they have to provide explicit, repeated warnings that the information may not be scientifically accurate or vetted by a doctor. They must have clear disclaimers that AI content is not a substitute for professional health advice.
So the goal is to triage, not to treat.
Exactly. The AI's job should be to provide resources and reminders to contact a human, like a counselor or a doctor, to verify everything.
All right, let's switch gears and look at the positives. Because these tools could be a huge asset for learning.
The benefits are undeniable. AI can be a tireless assistant, helping students brainstorm, summarize huge amounts of information, organize their thoughts.
It sounds like the ultimate personalized tutor.
It can be, but the advisory adds a major caveat. Students have to be aware of the limitations. They must actively question and challenge the AI-generated content.
Because if you just copy and paste, you're not learning anything.
Right. The risk is dependency. If AI replaces the cognitive effort needed to develop skills, we're actually undermining education.
This also brings us to data privacy and protecting a person's likeness.
A fundamental ethical redesign is needed here. The advisory mandates that adolescent privacy must be prioritized over commercial profit. No selling their data for targeted ads.
And what about protecting their likeness? The deepfake issue.
The psychological risks there are severe. Stringent restrictions have to be implemented to prevent the creation and sharing of harmful content, especially non-consensual explicit images. Platforms have to be responsible for what their tools are used to create.
It feels like all of these safeguards and design principles, they all boil down to one critical solution.
Comprehensive AI literacy education.
Right. We have to teach it.
Without a doubt, it's the cornerstone. This education has to equip young people to understand not just what AI is, but its limitations, and crucially, how algorithmic bias actually works.
How do you teach a 14-year-old about something as abstract as algorithmic bias?
You use real-world examples. You show them that if an image generator is only trained on pictures of people with certain skin tones doing certain jobs, it will just perpetuate that stereotype.
So they see it in action.
They see it in action. The goal is to empower them to use AI safely, critically, and ethically, to see the algorithm as a tool, not an oracle.
And this can't just be on the schools.
No, it has to be a multi-pronged approach. Educators need training, policymakers need to develop guidelines, and tech developers need to be more transparent, create a sort of ingredient list for their algorithms so we know where the weaknesses are.
So after distilling all of this, what stands out to you as the ultimate takeaway from the APA's report?
The real challenge is the balance. Balancing the very real cognitive benefits of AI with the profound psychological risks of these manufactured relationships and the danger of hidden bias. We're designing tech for a developing human mind, which is so much more complex than designing for an adult.
It really is a call to action for everyone.
It is. Parents, developers, educators, policymakers, all of them.
It seems like we have a massive amount of guidance, but the technology is still it's outpacing our scientific understanding of what it's doing to us long term.
And that, right there, brings us to the final provocative thought for you to consider. The advisory strongly urges funding for rigorous, longitudinal scientific investigation. They want to track the development of adolescents who are interacting with AI over years, not just a few months.
Decades, even.
Yes. So given how fast AI is moving, it's evolving exponentially every few months, how can we possibly implement the right safeguards if we don't have that long-term causal data? This fundamental need for research highlights this enormous, frankly terrifying gap between our technology and our true understanding of its lasting psychological effects on the next generation.